Hi, my name is Sally Barnard, an artist, author, and spiritual experiencer. Welcome to Call Me Zena, a true story into the spiritual realms. Join me as I sit and discuss the journey of self-discovery, and with the help of my spirit guides, it's time to trust your intuition. Sit with me and call in live 888-994-4995 Studio A. And now onto the show.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. It's that time of the day, Monday at 2:30. Welcome, everybody. First of all, I just want to say my name. I say, as my show is called, Call Me Zena, my name is Sally Barnard. So when I tell people that, they go, but you're Zena. That's my book, and that's who I've been told to call myself. So I just want to thank everybody for actually even inquiring about that. Thank you to my friends, thank you to my listeners, and thank you very much to my followers. And one other very quick thing before actually, I just need to say this before we ask the audience or anybody that wants to participate on my show, which is about gratitude today. So please call in 888-994-4995 Studio A. I'm here to ask any of the questions, and I have a lovely studio audience here right now with me. Just to say that my book, you can see it in the left. For me, it's the left-hand side. I guess for the audience, maybe it's the right. But my it's not a new book, but it's a book that I've actually revised. It's just come out a couple of weeks ago, which actually explains my journey. Here we go. Here. Just came out. So I have another book coming out in 5 months, but I really strongly suggest that you read this one first, because it explains exactly what happened to me over actually a year. So I documented everything, my dreams and all my artwork that I suddenly started to paint is in this very first book. And another few months from now will be the second book. But this is a good book to start with, and I have redone this and revised it slightly. That's the reason that I have done that. So let's go to the show now, and I'm going to open it up for the phones or anybody in the studio audience. And my special guest today, and she's been my special guest for quite a while now, and I love having you, is Dawn. Hi, Dawn.
Hi, Sally. Well, we love being here, and Sally has a live studio audience today, so I'm excited that you've got some longtime friends and some new friends to you, a longtime friend of ours in the studio. And I don't know, Sally, but all of a sudden, with the full moon last night, everything today has just opened up amazingly beautifully. What's going on?
And I'm very glad you brought that up. Although the show is on gratitude, but I'm actually gratitude
I'm grateful
for the
that
full
we're
moon.
busy.
And busy too, because Jay, who's in my studio audience right now, had actually said the very same words to me about the full moon. I am not an astrologer, but I'm really beginning to understand more about that, because we definitely pick the time that we're meant to come in here through the months, January to December. So people with a certain signs are very much in tune with the sign that they pick, and it's very much so. I am listening to the fact that I need to talk a little bit about the full moon. Do I know a lot about it? No, but my guides will give me information on that. I believe that there was a full moon, and people, like yesterday, I believe it was, that you had told me, Jay, that we get a little bit, especially people that are in tune, empaths, as you and I are, so we know that too. We get a little bit disoriented, I'm going to say. Our emotions are very, very running rapid at that particular time. So anybody that experiences that, just know that this too will pass. If you think about it, and which I had mentioned to you, Jay, many people, even in hospitals that are nurses or doctors, say the hospitals seem to get full when there's a full moon. So it's not coincidence, it's the gravity. We're getting more gravity, we're getting more vibrational energy, I would say, from the full moon. So just go with it, relax, this too shall pass.
Yeah, yesterday was kind of like that for me, and then I read something. He's going to laugh at me. So if you put water outside on the full moon and it charges, and you put your stones and your crystals, so I put my jewelry, the things that I wear a lot out there, and a glass of water, and you drink it first thing in the morning, it's supposed to energize you and reset and rebalance.
I like that.
So I did that last night, and I think I go with a plus or minus standard deviations. I think you could probably do it again tonight.
Yes.
Because I still think the full moon is pretty full tonight.
Well, it's the vibrational energy, which I talk a lot about. So we're getting more thrown at us, so to speak. So as the full moon, it's giving out energy. So the ones, especially empaths, as you and I know that too, are going to receive that. Everybody probably receives it, but we receive it in different ways. So if you're really understanding this and you know this, give gratitude to the full moon, because it's actually there to help us.
So go out, put a glass of water out there and energize. Drink
Perfect.
the water in the morning, wash your hair with it, if whatever you want to do with it.
I love that,
energize. I
Dawn.
told you saw it today.
I
What
love
today
that.
has been like here.
Yes, absolutely.
It's all been great.
As soon as I walked in, I felt that. I think Jay and I had said that. I said, oops, okay, something's going on.
But it's all been,
Right.
you know, great, and I'm so grateful for it. And then with the
Beautiful.
things that changed over the weekend, with the election, Freddie's been super busy with things going on with clients. So it's just,
It's all we
about
say
gratitude.
downhill or uphill. I'm going to say it's all uphill from
I'd
here
say
on
uphill
in. Yeah.
because,
Yeah.
you know, things are changing, and politics aside, things are changing our political landscape, which opens up to the shows that we've had produced for a long time that have gotten a little quiet, but now they can go on the upswing again and at least have the conversations.
And change is good. I think change, when we start to realize that, sometimes, you know, we get a little bit scared when things are going on and it's change. And I used to stay, when I used to work outside of what I'm doing now, I would stay where I was for many, many years because I didn't want to make that change. But actually, and I'm feeling, and this is what I'm being telling, change is growth. Change is very, very important. And I think not just us sitting here, there are many people today that are experiencing a lot of changes. And, you know, if we can all share these little experiences, it makes us look beyond ourselves and going. And you just told me a beautiful story, Diane. If you don't mind, maybe you could just say this outside, because I truly understand as best I can. But you know what? I never lose that aha moment when I hear something. So I believe what you had just told me. If you could just, if you don't mind, just repeating it.
I'd love to share the story. Is the mic on?
Yes.
Okay. I had a medium, a psychic medium woman who was a young woman. She was wonderful. And I would speak to her a couple times a year in person. And she was amazing. She explained so many profound things about my life, about life in general. And unfortunately, she passed away young. And I kept saying to her, because after she passed away, some really strange things happened. And I knew that she was around me. So I was somewhere in Delray Beach. I think I was at an event or on the street even, and I was standing next to this man, and he looked up at me and he gave me a card. I think it was his card, and he said, "You need to call this woman Sally." And he gave me her card and told me to put it in my bag and to call her. He said, "You need to call her." And I went, "Okay." And so I did call her. And Sally, it took me a while to get here, but I did get here.
And I want to thank you so much for that story. And you know, I hear many, many stories, and I've had many things happen to me. And I still do get, and I'm going to say, that aha moment. So I feel you are definitely in the right place, as I am too. It just happens out of the blue. And you know, again, in my book I mentioned some of the things that happened. I don't believe in coincidences. Nothing is coincidence, as
There's
we're
no
all sitting here together today. This is really,
That's
so
what they say. There
thank you
are
for
no.
sharing
You're
that.
welcome. There are
And
no accidents.
we have just met for the first time, but I feel like I definitely know
We've
you.
known Diane for a long time.
Yeah.
I've been seeing you a long time. I wanted to say one thing though, that I've been reading about and hearing about and believing more and more about the fact that change. You know, change is for a lot of us, including me. Change is not easy, but when you look at the big picture, that life is, this is the Earth School, right? We are
Yes,
here,
absolutely.
this is a school.
Yeah.
And when things change, it's for us to learn. And that's the only reason we're here. So even though a lot of us, some of us don't, but a lot of us do resist change and we don't like it, it's for our benefit ultimately.
And you know, I know that you're new to my program. I know that, you know, but I do talk a lot about that and positivity. And I got a very strong message a couple of weeks ago, which I think I mentioned on the show. Even if it's a negative, we can still learn. So let's try and because my show is very much about positivity. Let's turn that negative into a positive. We may not always see it, as you know too, and most of us can relate to that. But out of that, anything that we can learn by, and thank you very much for sharing that, is a journey. And Earth School, as you know, is a very, very difficult place, but we chose to be here. So anybody that's going through anything at this particular point, try to see, it's hard when you're going through it, and I absolutely know that too. But just know that change is very important. And sometimes when we're going through some very hard times in our life, you go, I don't want anything to change. But that change is important, and that was a very good message that you just shared. Thank you. Thank you.
Do you know who it was that you saw on Atlantic Avenue, the gentleman's name?
No, but I have his card somewhere. I have a lot of cards. But I do have it. And I just, at first I thought he looked familiar. But then when he wrote your name down and he said caller, I just thought, oh, okay. But it was sort of surreal, but I didn't think a whole lot about it, but I did call you, but it took me a while.
And you know, I've had many things happen, but I love that when that happens, because it's like, I feel very much that you feel very much at home here too, and you happen to know Dawn and Freddie from the other studio, and I'm thinking to myself, how did she come here? And it's great to finally meet you. We've only spoken twice, but you're very welcome, and I enjoy that.
Well, no, I'm not bad about my to-do list. It's just I have to do it.
Please find the name of that person. I'd like to thank them.
You use psychics and mediums to help you with what in life?
Well, I did. This is very interesting. When I lived in Manhattan for quite a while, and my first experience was a friend of mine, someone I grew up with, said to me, I guess I was having some issues, and she said, I want you to go. It was in West 41st Street. It was in the theater district in Manhattan. And she said, Diane, go to this. She gave me his phone number, and she said, go to this guy. So I went to him, and it was just mind-boggling. He knew all about the fact that I had a brother that passed away. I mean, no one knew that. He started talking to me about things in my life and giving me advice, and I was just like, I was wowed by it. And then I was always looking for somebody like that because I left Manhattan. And then I think I wrote, right, I'm a writer. So I did, this is really weird. I did an article on a woman who was psychic. And the weirdest thing is my mother had just passed away. And I had all the stuffed papers on my car. And I remember looking for my notebook. And I dove to the floor of my car to look for a notebook. And then I go in, I do the interview, and she looks up at me and she says, you know, your mom would really like it if you'd clean your car. So I had a session with her, which was interesting, but this woman, Jennifer, was outstanding. I mean, she literally told me a lot of things that clarified for me so many things that I just kept saying, I don't understand it. And she even said to me, you must say to yourself a lot, I don't understand this. She was amazing, but at 39 years old, she got a brain tumor.
Oh my goodness.
You know, this is, and I'm so happy that you're here today to share some of these stories, as Dawn and Freddie both know. I can talk all I want. I believe, and hopefully I can pass this message on by example of things that have happened to me too. Many things that I do share. But it's so beautiful to have guests that come in and we've just met for the first time. I love the validation, and I get many validations from the messages that I give and everything else. But I believe that it's so important for us all to share, because right now, as everything in this world, and we can say, yes, it's all negative, and it absolutely is, but we do have the power to make that change. If we can just change and see what's going on, if we can share these stories, I don't believe that this is coincidence that you're sitting here, that you found us here through, we don't even know who it is. I'd love to meet the gentleman, but this is how it works. And it just gives me more validation for myself, because I can explain all these things the best that I can. And I mean, I'm doing this for a long time, that much. There is so much more to learn. But through our stories and through things that are happening, it's so important to share this. That's why please, and I know that I'm getting quite an audience today. You don't always listen right now because everyone's busy on us on Monday, but through my recordings that I share, they can still see me through the power of podcasts. Okay, so it's great if you can just write down something or even call into the studio if you're available now, just to share what happened. And thank you very much for sharing that.
I wanted to share one other thing as you were speaking, Sally, about how we are all connected.
Absolutely.
We are all connected. There's a thread that runs through all of it. So what you're feeling, I'm feeling, you know what I mean?
And
there's no separation.
And that's the power of this. So that's why it's so important to put out positivity, because the universe doesn't, whatever you put out, be it negative or positive, it doesn't matter. But we want a good life and we want all the positive things. So let's try, even if we don't even believe this, let's put out all this positivity. And I mention this and I will keep mentioning it. I'm having a good day, even if you're not, it doesn't matter. Just say you're having a good day and put that out and you'll see amazing things. I mean, this is amazing. It's happening right now. All these things are so, you've seen it.
Oh, you
Dawn.
have no idea actually what's going on right now. We have to give out the phone number because you have a ton of people watching right now. So the number is 888-994-4995, Studio A. Call in, ask Sally a question, see what she can help you with. I have to ask the elephant in the room. I know you don't pick political sides.
No.
But what's the universe telling you about the change, since we're talking about change?
Okay, I'm going to say change. I don't get into politics. You know, of course I have my own views, but I try to stay very much away from it because unfortunately there is a negative side of this when you have friends and they're on one side and they're on the other. You end up not talking. Yeah. So I stay away very much from this, but I have my own political views, which I'm not going to share. And the question again, Dawn, I'm sorry.
Change, no matter what side you are, whether you're a Democrat, Republican, or independent, there has been a lot of change in the past 8 days.
We need that. And we've seen some, I'm going to say, strange things happen.
Yes.
Change is very, very important. And we're at that point in our, where we are, as far as best I can see, that we are, the world is changing. Our views are changing. Today, my first book that I have, which is now on sale again, is about, I was actually, I traveled to planets. 18 years ago, this was completely unacceptable. So there was a reason that I didn't go on with my book today. Today, people say, oh, what was it like on other planets? You know, I astral projected, but I was also, and I will say this, and I know Freddie, when I first came out with this, said, what is she talking about? I was abducted, and I've had many, many journeys out there. Change. It's changing our thoughts. It's not, this has been going on for centuries. What happened to me has happened to many, many people. But we're accepting more of that change. So if we just look at our lives today and say, I would not have thought that way 10 years ago, but you know what? We're in that process of change. The more we open up to the idea that change is good, because that's how we advance as a human, in our society. If we just stayed stagnant and we didn't do anything different, we'd be back in the 15th century where we met. It was the 15th century, right? Okay, we need that. We need that to elevate ourselves, to elevate this planet. So yes, change is good, and really gratitude and change is the topic.
But do you feel as if the universe has sent messengers down this past week, because a lot's happened? Is it coming from a greater place, or maybe another planet?
It's coming. I'm glad you said that. I believe that it's definitely coming from another planet. We are being told, we're getting technology, we're getting many things, and I do believe, and I know Russ's show is coming on after mine, which I've been a guest many times on his show, that we are being, I'm going to say the word tutoring actually is coming to my mind, from people from other places. Disclosure will come out. I've gone back into listening to a few of these shows on Gaia, which to give Gaia a shout out here because it's a great, great network to listen to, that we are ready to open our minds up to realize that there are other people out there that may not look like us, that may be more advanced, but they're helping us. You know, I go through my guides that are talking to me now, and I'm getting this feeling of absolute joy. We can just open up and not be scared, because if we're scared, it's not going to happen. So let's open our minds up to maybe there's something greater than ourselves. You know, people say, but my religion says this, or this person says this. That's okay, and I totally understand that. But just believe that maybe we're being helped, and they want to see us go through this the best that we can, because our life right now, and everybody hears, and if you listen to the news, it's negativity. Change. We need to change this.
And I was talking to you last week about this. I got a video from Russ that talked about human souls, extraterrestrial souls or alien souls, and then angel souls. And they're different.
They all have a different agenda here, but each one of those in their own way is all a positive message, Dawn, that they have to give us. So the ones that can channel that, as I do myself, just know that they're here to help us. I personally, and I say this, have never really been afraid through all the things that have happened to me. Only one time did I scream out. I won't go into that, but it still was to my benefit, because somebody else witnessed what I was going through. When I was going through, I don't know if it was an abduction or an astral projection, but I was totally paralyzed. I think that I needed to know that this is real. That there's nothing wrong with me, but I'm paralyzed in my sleep, and I happen to be woken up. So I believe, to me even, that was a slight change, because even I'm a human. I'm here as a human. And all these things that have happened to me, I still like that validation, because I've put out there a lot of things that some people will say, oh, that's not possible. So I said it in the beginning. How can this be happening to me? But today I'm a big believer to pass my message on by example. So change again. This is definitely gratitude and change, right?
Gratitude and change. Diane, do you have a question?
Do you have a question? No.
I think, Jay, you've been sitting there so quietly. I know you have some questions for me.
Oh, I have a lot of things. This has definitely been a big year of change. I mean, for me as well as others. But I mean, I can see, you know, so many things in a different direction than I used to, and it's all a positive thing. It's like I'm going in a positive.
Stay closer to your mic, please.
I'm going in a positive direction, and now but things are new for me to how I'm seeing things, you know, from that direction.
And I love that, because we had an opportunity to talk for a little while before the show, and everything you're saying to me, and I'm happy that you're experiencing what you are and that you're coming forward on the show to mention this, because you're beginning to, I would say, I hope your mic is on, and I hope that that you're beginning to what we call wake up. And this is the time to do that. And I've told you, I am here for you 100%, because do I claim I don't have the ego, but I just want to say that I have, there is no time on the other side,
Yeah.
but I've had the experience now of 20 years of having these things happen to me. And it's so beautiful to see that you're saying,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, this happened to me.
Yeah.
I'm here for anybody that's going through
I have
that.
heard, you know, a lot in my life about, you know, a spiritual awakening, a reawakening.
Right.
And that's what I feel that I am kind of in the process right now of, you know, of this whole change of looking at things in a different perspective.
And that's how it absolutely starts, and you absolutely had the open mind. First of all, the most important is to believe this. If you don't believe it, anything can happen and you'll go, oh no, but you have that open mind. Open mind and belief is so very important. And then we're all experiencing these things. We just don't know that we are. So once you become aware of that, oh my gosh, it's such a wonderful way to live. So many good things happen. Whatever you put, and I'm going to say negativity too, because you put that negativity out, it'll come back negative.
Right.
So why not? And I use the expression, fake it till you make it. We're having a good day, right? And everything will be fine. I promise you, from what I know, it will be. It works.
So, Sally, if that's the theory, then maybe the reason I've been through 3 refrigerators in a year and a half and my new washing machine's making holes in my clothing, maybe it's my thoughts, huh?
It is, Diane. You're in the right place, okay? Okay, I will not talk negativity to you, okay? I can feel that energy. You are a positive person. But you've gone through, and we'll talk about this another time, but I'm sensing that you've had a lot of, I'm going to say, trials that you've had to get through, lessons that you've had to learn. But we'll talk about that another time. But you know what? You're in the right place at the right time, okay? And I'm so happy that you're here today.
Marita says we create our own reality and we are part of the whole.
Absolutely. And, you know, that's difficult to understand. And I know Marita is on the same vibrational energy. We are all, I'm going to say one, as she's mentioned too, but we all have individual personalities because we have free will. But we're all coming from the same place. And the more that we can begin to understand that, the more we will attract all this positive vibrational energy. We attract the people in our lives that we put out. If we're going to, as an example, be negative, you're going to get a lot of people coming into your life with a lot of problems, okay? So that's how it works. I have no doubt in my mind because we're energy. That's all we are. We're energy. So put out good energy, comes back to you.
Shall we take a commercial break?
Absolutely.
Give us a call, 888-994-4995, Studio A. Take a commercial break, and Sally will be right back.
See you on the other side of this show. I say that many times, right? Thank you. I'll be right back. My story starts at 4 or 5 years old. My name is Sally Barnard, and I was born at the end of the Second World War, in the middle of an air raid siren going off. My parents were in a movie theater, and my mother went into labor. My father ran out of the movie theater, but there was no cabs to be available because everybody is running for cover. However, they found one, and the taxi driver was given the address to take my father and my mother to the hospital. As my mother was in labor, about a half an hour, I arrived at exactly midnight. I think I was fed messages at a very early age. My parents used to like to play cards, and they had a card game every Wednesday or Thursday night at home when I was a baby. And I actually said to them one day, why do you keep waking me up at night? The card game is waking me up, and I can't get back to sleep so quickly. And they looked at each other and they said, we're not really waking her up. They were quite away from my bedroom. And they called in a psychic to say, what in the world is going on? And the psychic said that I'm getting many messages that are waking me up at night. I thought whatever I was experiencing, other people were experiencing too. You don't know until you realize that you are different. Many things were happening to me, things that were unexplainable to me. What I had dreamt was happening. I could sense many things, and the things that I was sensing were coming about, but something was going on. I will explain to you everything. You're ready.
A True Story, Call Me Zena is the telling of Sally Barnard. Born in London, England at the end of the Second World War, she came into the U.S. in 1979. A mother of 2 and a grandmother of 4, she settled in Florida and worked in real estate. While going through a difficult time in her life, she was admitted into a hospital overnight in December of 2005. While settling back into her life, she began having vivid dreams and documenting them. By the 3rd dream, a lady gave her a message to draw. With no artistic background or interest into art or history, Sally listened to her dreams and grabbed a paper and crayons. Today, she has over 150 pieces of inspiring art and poetry. This book follows her journey and interpretations of these messages. She describes in detail on how she is able to astral a project and who she has met along her travels, including her spirit guides. This book will show you how anything is possible with an open mind. These events have changed Sally's life and direction, and this book will show you how to change yours. Purchase Call Me Zena on Amazon today, authorhouse.com and amazon.com.
Thank you for joining me through this journey of self-discovery with the help of my spirit guides. I'm Sally Barnard, and you can find my book and artwork by visiting artbysallybarnard.com. Now back to the show.
Hi, we're on the other side of our show. Okay, here I am, ready to answer questions. You say we've got quite a large audience today.
Quite a large audience today.
We mentioned something like, I don't know, but I love to hear that, because I like to know that people are absolutely listening. And this is my book, since I have a very large audience listening. Please, this is a journey of my own discovery, which I wrote a few years back, but I've updated this. And the next book will be, as I had said, a continuation of this book. When this book was first printed, I really didn't know a lot what was happening to me. I was having many things happen. I was having dreams, I was traveling, and I had my guide, as anybody that knows that's been listening to my show now, he's adamant in my book that interprets some of my artwork. I had never been able to paint ever before, but I was led through channeling or whatever it was at that point, I didn't know, to draw all these sketches from previous lives. And in this book is the interpretation of my very, very beginning of when I started to paint, or actually draw at that time. So it's kind of interesting, and the next one will be a continuation of this. So here I am, talking about my book, and any questions, please.
Does everyone have a guardian angel?
Absolutely, everyone has a guardian angel. We don't always realize we have a guardian angel, but you know what? Talk to that. We have several people. We have guides. In fact, even in this book, and I didn't know too much about it, my guide came to me other than Aldo, but he was here to explain things. And I said to him, but my guide said that he has an apprentice. I didn't know what I was talking about, but I knew that the apprentice had come to me. He said, sure, they have people learning just like we learn on the other side. They have it on the other side too. So of course this was about 19 years ago. Today I understand that, and I'm more than ready to help people, and I know from your reaction that you understand this. But this was like 18, 19 years ago. And I slowly, over the years, so much has come to me. I've traveled, I say around the world, but I've traveled outside of the world to many different planets, which at that time people would have probably, I don't know what they would have said, but I don't know. But today I openly say that I have been to many different planets, and I love it. I love it. I wouldn't change my world today.
Now, you had a walking guide. I call it a walking guide.
I did.
Earthly guide.
I did.
Does everyone have an earthly guide?
Not everyone has an earthly guide, but everybody has a guide. We have like a soul group of people, and I believe everybody here in the studio is part of that. So there is no coincidences. That's why you're sitting here too. And you feel that immediate reaction, as we certainly did, Dawn, and Freddie too. He may not absolutely admit it right away, but we had that connection. So we come down with not all of our soul group, but we come down with our soul group, and we meet them, and we feel that instant connection, as we just did. We've just met, Diane, but even on the phone I felt that, okay? So what happens is some of our guides that are of our soul group don't always incarnate the same time as us. So they're ready to help us, just like if they were here. They're ready on the other side of, I'm saying, the veil, to help us. So all my suggestion is to you, talk like we're talking now to them. They will help you. You see, and you'll see amazing things happen. Talk to them. Nobody may be listening. It's okay in your immediate area on Earth, but they're listening to you, and that's what's important.
There's been a lot of change.
Change is how we grow.
So
absolutely.
let me ask you, what's happening with the studio?
With the studio here, change. That's an important question. I know we talk about this a lot, but it is really important for both of you guys to know this. Things are changing, but as long as you know that this is happening and that go forward with it, because as we had been saying, change is positive. If you go in a positive direction, if you say, I don't like this change, or I'm not sure about this, go with your gut. You will get many, many different opportunities happening here in the studio. but know that it's on the positive direction. As long as you know that, you'll say something one day to somebody, as I'm having happen to me in the studio here. I mean, I'm going out on the road and I'm going to be talking. I only met these people that were able to do that for me in the studio here, which is to both you and Freddie. To me, this has been an absolute blessing because it's our home. It's my home here. So many things have happened here. So change is good. And you will have them walking into the studio here for sure. Absolutely.
And the foundation, I got a call today from a young man. He's in high school. And because of change, schools are different. So a lot of these students are homeschooled.
Yes.
So he lives someplace else on the other side of Florida, but he's got family here. And because he's homeschooled in high school, he wanted to know if he could come work here as an internship, part of his homeschooling, and see if we could help him get a step forward into the workforce earlier.
See, that in its own way was change
Yes.
because you couldn't have had that happen. So just we have technology today, and we've got a long way still to go with. We're getting technology and we're being guided into the technology that we're having. But you see how we can turn all that. People say, oh, too much. Yes, AI, okay. But if we look at it from a positive point of view, you're going to see how that change can really work for each and every one of us in our lives.
I thought that was an amazing opportunity.
Absolutely.
Because not only did he know he was on the other side of Florida, by the time he called me, he had already come up with a solution to be here, to work it in with his high school homeschool credits for the amount of hours and days that he needs if we would have him.
And if you'd said this 10 years ago, that couldn't have happened.
If I said this, 2 months
Even
ago,
2
I would
months
have,
ago,
before
yeah,
the
I'm saying 10
foundation,
years.
I don't think I would have ever even believed it.
Absolutely, and that's something that I'm actually very close to my heart today, because I would like to form a foundation too for senior citizens, because I want to tell people that you're never too old. You're still young at any age. And I have very much close to my heart today that I want to show people that anything is possible. It doesn't matter if you're 10 or you're 90. You're still, because we never stop learning. We don't stop learning here. We don't stop learning when we depart from here. We transition on the other side. It's all about learning and raising our vibrational energy. So I'm very wanting to do something like this for what we would call senior citizens today. So I think what you're doing is very important, and I feel that hopefully my message, and you say we have a lot of people listening today, that's not coincidence. I want to share this with a lot of people. It's not ego, it's just to show people that this is so important today. I feel that, as Aldo used to say, to spread the word, and that's what I'm trying to do. Well, I am doing.
Marita says, I have had one show up for me and they are malleable. I guess she means her guides?
Her guides, yes, yes. Yeah, Marita and I, just to explain who Marita is, I've known Marita now for about 28 years, and we had an instant connection on how, she lives in Melbourne, Florida, so she's not able actually to come to the cafe unless she visits me. But we've had a very, very strong connection. She was with me shortly after I kind of got involved with this. She knew Aldo very well. So we've shared many, many experiences together. She's on the same vibrational energy as we are, and I believe we all are at this point in our lives here right now in the studio. So I'm glad, thank you for sharing, Marita, and continue to do so.
You have a question over there, Freddie?
We feel that you have a question, Freddie.
Again, if you want to talk to Sally, I see there's a lot of people that are playing the video. If you want to talk to Sally, 888-994-4995, Studio 8. You can call in and ask one question, only one, and don't stay on the line too long because there are other people that we want to get to. I have a question. With everything that's changing around us right now, and this is a constant in-motion situation, I was told that final quarter, big changes are coming. And those that are not ready are going to find it very difficult to work in this environment of change. Not good, not bad, but you have to sort of change your way. How do the guides help us change our way?
That is so true. Everything that I believe. My message is go with the flow. That's what I'm hearing very much. We are, at this point, there is no time as they see it on the other side. But we have time here, so it's important to understand time, because they know that we go with that. this particular time in all our lives, because we're here on earth, is going through a very, I'm going to say difficult, but we can make it easier. Change is so important. So if something comes up in your life, if you raise your vibration and you're not sure because it's not what you're used to, but your gut tells you, okay, this is all right, I'm going to go ahead with it. Go with your gut, because it's not just us sitting here. Everybody out there is saying, all these things are happening to me. Whether you choose to believe it or not, it's okay, but change is happening. So go with it. Go with it the best you can. We will come out on the other side of this with positivity. But in order to get that positivity, it's like a disruption of everything. That's what change is. Your life is going one way. You go, so you know what? When you're going through all this mess, because everything, you listen to the news, you listen to this, it's not coincidental that this is happening for us to change. So you have to go through it, but when you come out on the other side of this, you'll see why all this happened. It's hard right now because we're right in the middle of this mess. But just remain positive. And that was a great question, Freddie, because everybody, I believe, can relate to this. Thank you.
So let me ask you, is Elizabeth around?
Elizabeth is always with us, Dawn. She was with us from the 15th, 16th century, even to the last lifetime, okay? She hasn't incarnated that much. She was with us at that particular time. Just for viewers to know that Dawn and I met you in the cafe. We recognized each other. Even you had said you'd seen my art. So I'm not making any of this up. I have a validation here. She was with us then and will be with us and she's going forever. But forever is forever, right? She knows you and she knows me. And she's
what are her messages of today?
She's telling you, as she always does, remain positive. What was the song that she told us?
Bridge over troubled water.
And it still applies, okay? Because we're going through change. So through that, the song is very relevant today. Bridge over troubled waters. We will come through this. It's not just for you or for me or for you. It's for everybody. You know, you're going to say, I can't take any more of this. So what do? We change it. We try to change it as soon as we can. We do it gradually, sometimes instantly, but just keep in your mind, change is important because change will happen. Just look at the news. Everything is changing.
It's all changing. But it's good change.
As long as we believe that it's good. And I will say this time and time again. If we believe that, I don't want any more of this, but it keeps happening to me, in your world, because we each have our own little world, unfortunately, if we think negative, negative thoughts will continue. We start to see the negative turn into a positive, and this is so important. Maybe that's why we have so many viewers today, because I want you to know that, okay, negative can become a positive. Believe that, because without that, I often say, if everything was white, how would we know what black was? If everything was black, how would we know what white was? So we have to have a balance, and we're getting very much into that balance today.
See what's going on.
Absolutely, yes, absolutely. And you know, there are many shows like mine, and listen to them, and you will see that we are, in our own way, all beginning to understand a little bit more. I mean, I had this happen to me, what we called in time, about 19 years ago, and I was considered very much out of the box. Today I'm not. So obviously people are changing a lot to listen to my story today.
And like what Diane said, when she went to the psychic, that there were things that she didn't understand, that they gave you some validation that it made sense. And as I've been going through this journey for all of, 8-9 years, there are things you know in your mind that don't make sense, and then you just see this little bit of information, or you hear it, or someone validates it, and it's like this puzzle finally comes all together, and it makes sense.
And that's, you know, I often use that as an example. We are all pieces of a puzzle. You know, when they talk about the whole, we are all one. Yes, we have our own journeys, but we're still in that puzzle. We each have a little place in that puzzle. So if we look at life that way, whatever I've gone through, I'm not the only one that's gone through that. It's how we handle that problem. You know, years ago, before I perhaps, even though I knew as a child that I was psychic, I thought everybody was that way, but I never expressed it because it seemed like, oh my goodness, she's way out here. But we all have the same feelings, the same desires. We don't always open up ourselves to that. We're all part of a puzzle. And when we begin to understand that, we will begin to open ourselves up to so much more of what's going on in the universe today. I believe that everybody is psychic. It's not just me or the psychics today. It's just that we don't know we're psychic. Anybody can do what I'm doing. I don't say, oh, I'm so great, look what I can do. I've never said that. I believe anybody can do that. So once we understand that, amazing things happen. The fact that you came in today, that you met a complete stranger that I don't even know,
That's
that gave
amazing.
my name. I love that. I've had many stories of similar, but every time it happens, that gratitude of, I'm so happy that you're here, and I know that you will be a constant here in the studio. It's where we're meant to be. It's beautiful.
Do you ever wonder why that happens to you?
Well, you know, I don't anymore, because I see the synchronicity in what goes on in my life. And I also have found, like you said, Sally, everyone is psychic to it. We all are. It's a question of being open to it. It's a question, and meditation is a wonderful, wonderful tool, because meditation gives you the ability to rise your energetic vibration. When you raise your energetic vibration, you're feeling things that are there, but you're not seeing them. It's almost like the difference between a blind person. There's a wonderful book out that a New York Times columnist wrote. It's beautiful book. He left the New York Times though, but he talked about how when he lost sight in one of his eyes, he went and he noticed how his life changed because he was focusing on things other than what he used to focus on. And instead of moving quickly through life, he stopped to see everything out of the one eye. And then he interviewed people, I'm trying to think of the name of the book, but anyhow, he interviewed people all over the world that had lost sight, some of them in both eyes, and some people that lost their hearing, but how they shouldered through, and they used the power that they had within themselves that may have shifted.
Right.
You know, but we all have the ability to sort of, you know, tap into that energy, tap into those answers. It's just sometimes it's harder than others. You know, yeah. And meditation really is.
And that's why it's so
a great
important.
tool.
Meditation is great,
great
too,
tool.
because you clear your mind. Well, unfortunately, we all have, because we're all in this world with a mess going on, and so we lose track of what we may be able to really do, and that's a very important message. I believe if you have lost your sight, that you go more inward, because people that have lost their sight can tell you what's going on. I don't know, I'm not sure, but I think they dream through your dreams. I'm not sure, so I'm quoting something I don't know, but I feel that they can see in their dreams. I don't know.
Well, their sense of energy changes. Their sense of, a lot of them, when they begin to lose their sight, their hearing gets sharper. But what I was thinking when you were speaking, Sally, is also what gets in our way of being psychic are thoughts.
Our
And they
minds.
say that you've got, what, 38,000 thoughts a day? I mean, the most powerful place to be in your life is when you can sort of, you know, it's interesting. Clutter is a big subject for me right now. When I walked in here, I was like, this looks like my house. But
That
the
was
thing
my
is,
office, yes.
yeah, but the thing is, it's like our clothing. If we put it in the drawer, then it's not out. We can't trip on it. It's the same thing with our thoughts. You know, if we don't let these thoughts intrude,
Right.
and it's a habit. It's a habit, but it's practice. It's like tennis, or volleyball, or pickleball, which everybody's playing. But the more you are used to putting thoughts away in the drawer for when you need them, then you have that beautiful clear space, which Sally knows
that's
very
what
well.
I feel, because that's why, when we dream,
Yeah.
we're not in
Right.
our minds.
Right.
So a lot of people say, I had this dream.
Yeah.
And this is what I meant to do. I listen a lot. I don't listen too much to TV, but I listen to Shark Tank, and I love that because they're entrepreneurs that are advertising what they're going to be doing. And I became aware of how many people said that they got this idea in a dream. Being who I am, that stood out very much in my memory, because we don't have our thoughts in our dreams. It's like it's meditation in a way. We are open to anything that's going to happen to us. Most of the time we don't remember our dreams, but on certain ones, as I have too, when it becomes more real, I remember from 19 years ago that was happening to me in my dreams.
But you know what's so profound about dreams is that we are spirits
Absolutely.
in a body, right? When you're in a dream state, you're not, your body is sort of not with, you're more spirit, and you're more connected to spirit.
Because there is an astral plane, which I did not know at that time, but I visited and woke up in my mind to the astral plane, and that's how I was able to become aware of so many things. Because in my book also, Aldo came to me the next day and I didn't know this man, but he's telling me everything that happened in my dream. So I was stubborn in the beginning. They had to go, okay, we're going to send someone that's going to validate this for you. But I'm saying, how is this possible that someone could enter my dream that I didn't know, and I didn't know what happened, and told me every single aspect, this was 19 years ago now, of my dream of what had happened. I didn't know where I was, but he knew, and became my guide for 18 years, which is actually in the book that you're going to read. So anything is possible out there. Anything is possible if you believe it. You have to believe first, because if you don't, be it through religion, however you want to believe, keep an open mind.
Jay?
Yeah, I truly, in my heart of hearts, know that you have to believe, and it's how you believe. Everybody is different. I mean, I don't care if you call it meditation or prayer, or if you're spiritual, or it's still a part of our being that we really have that, and that we can really see things in a different way if we just allow ourselves to go there.
And it doesn't matter how we get it, through religion, through a psychic experience, through sometimes when we're going through a very hard time, something reaches out, we want to reach out to someone. They call it like your rock bottom. You reach out, however it is, as long as you believe. Just know there's something greater than ourselves that is trying to contact us.
And I feel too that sometimes we have really tough things happen in our life, and it seems like it's so overwhelming, but that can also lead us to change in our life.
100%, because that's when we opened the subject. We didn't know we were going to be talking about change, but yes, because you have to change your thought process. We're programmed, I'm going to say, in a certain way from birth to believe what other people tell us. Well, they may not have this feeling about this, so we're now taking their thoughts and turning it into our thoughts. How many times do people say, well, my parents wanted me to do this? They follow and there's nothing wrong with that. I understand that. Parents are here to guide us too. But it's not what we feel that we should be doing. So we have to go inward. And I call it, and I love this today because I'm following my passion. It's passion, which each and every one of us have this passion. So go with your gut. Even if the situation and circumstances around you are saying, oh, you can't do that, that's out of the box. Do and follow it, and you'll see amazing things happen when you start to do that. You're following your passion. We each have different passions. We each have different gifts, but go with that and follow it. I wanted someone, I've been saying I need some reviews now on my new book. What do? You review books, and you write a column. So, no coincidences, right?
Sally, I think we've got 2 minutes.
Okay.
Here, Steve says, back at work after 9 months, I seem to have a much greater connection to the people I'm addressing. How do we account for that?
Well, because he has me to help him here. Believe, just believe it. This is my husband just writing here. Yes, believe that. You've seen some incredible things happen, Steve. You know that. You opened your mind more. Continue to open it. I'm here to teach, and obviously you're in my life, so I'm trying to do the best. I'm no better than you or anybody, but I've opened my mind up now for what we call in time like 18, 19 years now. So anybody that comes into my life or your life, or we're beginning to do this journey, we're doing it together. Some of us are not advanced, but some of us have seen more happen. I hate to say that word, are more advanced. We're all the same. But the more things that happen, we begin to open up more. So more things, and they're showing us from the other side, will happen to us. Synchronicity, names, places. You turn on the radio and there is your the name of your loved one. I mean, this has happened to me with my daughter. Her name was Caroline, Louise Caroline. And when I'm feeling low, I turn the station on in my car. Sweet Caroline comes on. And you know that, Steve. How many times does that happen? She's watching me. Many, many things.
All right.
Well, Steve had a very serious illness that he's overcome, knock on wood. So whatever it is that it took to get there, we're very happy that he's with us.
Exactly.
And Sally, you also have a speaking engagement that's going to come up. Why don't you tell people a little bit about that and how they can get your book?
Yes, actually, I'm going to go out into the country clubs. I'm going to say the senior population, where I'm going to use 65 and up. Okay, I'm going to be speaking in about right now 6 country clubs that I have been going to give my lectures. So I'm going to be doing that, and hopefully we're going to be able to record them in the cafe. So you're going to see some of the things that are going on, and also once again my book that's been out but now has been upgraded. I'm going to say into a newer version of this. I do recommend that you buy this one first before my new one that's coming out, because it gives you an idea of what happened to me. I knew nothing about what I'm talking about 19 years ago, but my whole world changed through what had happened to me. And if viewers know what astral projection was, I started to go all over the place. So it's recommended that you read this one first. I don't do much advertising on my show, but I feel that it's very important now to start doing this, because we are changing. And if I can just open people's minds by them reading I can only show you by example. And my example is here, what happened to me at that time. And I think we're running out of time now. The 2 minutes have to be up.
All right.
Okay, all right, thank you, and I'll see you all next week. And thank you so much, everybody that's following me. I really appreciate that. Anybody that sends me messages, I certainly try to answer on Facebook. Thank you once again, and please tune in next week. Thank you.
You have been watching Call Me Zena with your host, Sally Barnard. As an artist, author, and spiritual experiencer, know that you can always seek me out for resources by visiting artbysallybarnard.com. Join us next week, Mondays at 2:30. Have a blessed